Hello and welcome back to Sinister Chapters podcast. This is another instalment where we are having an AATA, having a little bit of a chat with a couple of the authors that will be attending Authors at the Armories October in 2025. We are very excited to be able to talk to Marisa Noelle today. Hello, how
Yes,
are you?
Hi, I'm very well. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to
yes.
Lovely
it.
to have you. I'm going to say, George, you can go this time because I've done them quite a lot.
Okay. All right. No worries.
You got this.
A bit of a simple one, but usually we get a lot of authors tripping up on it because we have to do a bit of a deep dive. So, what inspired you to start writing?
Yeah, it's that's quite a long win. Okay, we could be here a long time. I was always a bookworm, and I've always read for as long as I can remember,
Yeah.
and I've always written little stories, and I never thought seriously about writing. I was more kind of like maths and science kid at school, and my mom, who, um, well, I'm half American, half British, and she was always really good at English, and she's
Mm.
always used to say to me, "You're really great at ideas, but you've got no idea how to write them." And I so kind of took that to heart and thought, well,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna do anything with stories. So it wasn't until years later, actually, during my time at university. Sadly, I lost two friends to meningitis, and it was a really, really tough time for me. And I started having problems with anxiety. And I kind of lent into writing then, and it
Hmm.
started with poetry. And I found that it was a way just to get out these feelings that I didn't know how to explain.
Yeah.
Um, and even though in the back of my head I'd always had this idea for a book, and it kind of spurred me on to be like, well, I'm going to give it a go. And I did. And the more I wrote, the more I loved it. I went and did courses and got tuition and realised I needed a bit of help. And then I just got bit by the bug and have found that not only do I love doing it, but it's also a form of therapy for me. So
Yeah.
now I couldn't live without it, really. So,
Oh wow.
yeah. So that's how that
Oh,
happened.
wow.
I do love a
Sorry, that was a
positive
bit of a
outcome.
conversation stopper
Yeah.
there as well.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
I will. So, our next question for you is: can you share a little bit about your writing process?
Yeah, so I tend to always have a lot going on in my brain and in my projects, and I will tend to be plotting one thing, first drafting another, and editing something else to some degree. And I do get ideas all the time, and
Yeah.
when that happens, I'm very disciplined, so I don't go off on a tangent. I will just make notes, dump it in a file, so that
Yeah.
when I'm finished doing what I'm supposed to be doing, like
Yeah.
writing
I
a
can
book,
go back to this.
um, yeah, I can go back to it, and then that gives me time to think, oh, actually, was that a good idea or not a good idea?
Hmm.
So that's kind of how I manage the process, and then I am a plotter,
Yeah.
so everything I start to think about an idea, I'll write a few notes, usually in the middle of the night on post-its, and I'll wake up to a carpet of post-its and things like that. And then that kind of gets dumped into a spreadsheet, and I tend to follow Save the Cat, so then I start to organise my thoughts in terms of that structure.
Hmm.
And then when I see the blanks, that's when I think I've got to start asking myself questions.
Yeah.
And once I've got my spreadsheet full enough, then it's go time. Then I get
Yeah.
to write my draft, and that's really just the beginning, because the editing is the hard bit for me. But
It's just a problem in itself.
Yeah.
yes, indeed.
Oh, I love the organisation. I love a structure and when everything's just set out where you want it.
Yeah.
I wish we
And
could be
you
like
know, it's
that.
funny
Yeah.
because when you watch the examples, and there's loads of YouTube examples of doing Save the
Mm.
Cat like for free that you can watch, and they always make it look so easy.
Yeah.
Like, the motivations and all those things look just so like obvious.
Yeah.
And when they break down a book like The Hunger Games or something, you're thinking, yeah, well, of course. But when you
Yeah.
come to do it yourself, you're thinking, I
What?
don't know what my character wants. I don't know why, and it's
I
so
don't
much
even know
more
what I
work.
want.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I want to go make a cup of tea. So,
Oh, what have we got for our next one? Oh, could you give us a brief overview of your most recent release?
my most recent release, well, I have been releasing some novella origin stories.
Hmm.
for my dystopian trilogy. So the
Yeah.
dystopian trilogy is called The Unadjusteds, and it's set in a near future where genetic enhancements have become normal.
Yeah.
And you can swallow a pill and you can grow wings, or you can regenerate a
Oh.
limb, or, you know, all sorts of
Yeah.
possibilities. So once I had released the initial trilogy, and there's a team of 11 characters who I love, and I thought,
Yeah.
they all have their own origin story for joining the resistance, their own
Yeah.
reason for doing that. So I decided to write their own stories in a
Yeah.
novella, because they don't need to be massive.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to release one a month, which are free to my subscribers to my website. But you can get them, obviously, if you want to buy them. They're 99p, so they're not expensive. And I'm just kind of exploring, so that all all the readers who love the original trilogy can kind of see how all the characters actually initially came together and what motivated them. So that's been kind of what I've been doing most recently, as well as book 5 in my Mermaid series that came out last May, and book 6 will be coming out in March, so not too long.
Ooh.
Wow. I've
That
never read
actually
a
leads us
mermaid
on.
book.
No, I don't think.
No, no.
No, I've never done mermaids.
So the Mermaid Chronicles it starts off in our world about a girl
Mhm.
who lost her mother and twin brother in a shark attack and hasn't gone near the water since. And she used to be a
Yeah.
champion swimmer, and she won't even take a bath. But she basically discovers she's a mermaid. So it starts in our world, but it does
Yeah.
eventually move to Atlantis. They have to go and find Atlantis. And so
Mhm.
there is mermaids and there are shark shapeshifters, and that's your forbidden love story that goes with that.
Oh,
So,
Ooh.
that is a
lots of
new
love.
one.
Yeah. The more we do these interviews, the more I'm like, we really need to open our reading
Yeah.
horizons.
Yeah. And like
We've got
anything's possible.
aliens.
It's a 7-book series, so there you go.
We've had aliens and now mermaids. Perfect. We are
Yeah.
sorted.
Yeah.
But it does lead on very nicely to the next question that we've actually got for you is, can we have a little bit of a sneak peek into your next release?
Yeah. What do you wanna see here? What, do you want me to read you something? I mean, how does that work?
So
You
you
could
can either,
just surprise us with anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
with sort of
Treat.
the audio format, we will have to be like, if you would like to see
Yeah.
what you have been shown, please go view it.
Okay. I've just been so book 6. I've just been doing my final read through. I'm on chapter 24
Mhm.
out of 26 chapters, so we're almost there before I can start the formatting
Woo.
process. Um, but I could give you a little dose of what happens. Should I just read a little bit from the beginning? Is that
Yeah.
what you think?
Yeah, give us
Yeah.
an extra. I'm excited.
Okay. So the Mermaid Chronicles. There's 4 books from Cordelia's point of view, and then 3 books from her son Gal. So this is Gal,
Yeah.
and this is the second book in his head. So chapter 1 is called Denizens of Darkness. I can't even say my own title. There we go. Okay, here we go. I jumped back to avoid the foot connecting with my chest. Gripping the glowing trident in my right hand, I carved it through the air, nearly taking off the offending foot. Ford's eyes widened as he leaped out of the trident's path, and I couldn't help the cocky smile swarming over my lips. For Virago's sake, you're getting good at that. My grin stretched wider. I learned from the best. It was only fair to compliment the man who taught me everything I knew about combat, as well as the trident's powers. In the 9 months since I'd been back in Atlantis, I'd been training with Ford every day. So far, I had only mastered 3 of its powers: water breathing, healing waters, and tidal control. Of the many abilities it could grant me, it had only thought me fit to learn the most basic, as if I wasn't worthy of acquiring more. Maybe I wasn't, but my frustration was growing daily. Is that enough?
Ooh.
I was ready to sit here and listen to the rest of it.
I don't know how much you want, so we can be here.
George was locked in and just sort of
I was. I was like headphones, audiobook, ready to go.
Well, I could give you the next paragraph, because that might even end it on a bit more of a cliffhanger if you want to.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Okay,
go
here
on.
we go.
Please.
So, the moment we returned from our fight with Zale, the Mermaid Chronicles had informed us the 4 dark gods of the depths would be coming, the denizens, ancient evils with insurmountable power at their fingertips. They were waiting for their chance to tear apart the world I knew and loved. I had only ever fought a Salachi before. Granted, a Salachi with enhanced strength and reflexes, gifted from the very evil gods on their way to cast their dark shadows on my homeland, but still a Salachi. So that sets up what's happened. We've got the 4 evil water gods coming to get Gal's trident, and a Salachi is what I call the shark shapeshifters, so that's what they call themselves. Yeah. There we go.
Ooh.
The
That's
excitement.
very exciting.
I know. I do love a mermaid, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So do I.
I think when I wrote
Yeah.
it, I wanted like mermaids that were a bit darker and sexier and
Yeah.
than like the Little
Yeah.
Mermaids.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of think of it, as the Little Mermaid all grown up with a few secrets
Ooh.
and morally grey issues and things like that. So
Sold. Tick. Say no more.
It's on a wish list. She's sorted.
Stop wish list. Here we go. Oh. Where are we up to? I was too busy enthralled with mermaids.
We are up to, gosh, we've like rapid fired through these.
I know.
Question 5.
question 5
Oh,
already.
yeah.
There we go.
Wow. Yeah, if you could branch out into any other genre, what would it be?
Well, you see, I think that's a trick question. Because I do write more than one genre. And I think that the beautiful thing about being an indie is not having to get pigeonholed by publishers to say you must write this. So I write fantasy, romantasy, horror, dark fantasy, dystopian, sci-fi. So I like to think of myself as I'll write anything in the speculative field. And that's how I get away with, say, being able to write all those genres. Because you're always going to expect something supernatural, fantastical to happen. Usually with my mental health representation, that's in all my books as well. So yeah, sometimes I'm more in the fantasy, sometimes I feel like I want to get more stabby and go horror. It depends on my mood. But I do have a sneaky, steamy pen name, which is like more on the erotica side of things.
Ooh.
So I will be working more on that this year, actually.
We absolutely love the erotic side of things. We have very much dipped our toe into the erotic horror genre. One of our first episodes that have gone out this year for the podcast was a very, very dark erotic horror, more just horror. But if you'd look, I'd love to hear a little bit more about sort of your
so my pen name I go by is Savannah Warner, and I have a novella out at the moment. It's called Dreamkeeper, and it has a very discreet cover, so you can take that anywhere you want to go. It's actually a fantasy, and it follows the Sandman, and it's about how mortals are no longer dreaming, and therefore his world of dreams is shrinking, and he has to go and encourage people to start dreaming again. And of course, mortals dream about their spiciest fantasies and what they all want, whether it's a wolf shifter or a group orgy situation, whatever that might be. So there's a little bit of everything in this book as he visits each person, but then also finds he also falls in love and his own relationship and how that happens. So that's the one that's out. Although what I'm planning next isn't quite so dark. I mean, it's not dark in the dark romance. I want to do a series of alternative sports romances. So surfing, snowboarding, skiing, ice, those kinds of things. The sports you don't really see that much of, which can be quite sexy. So that is my plan. The first one will be centered around surfing, because even though I can't surf, I do boogie board. I do love surfing and I love the ocean. So, there's always going to be water in my books. I'm drawn to it.
We can get on board with that. It's very rare. It's usually
Was
it's
that
very
like,
like hockey in it, and
yeah,
you
I will
know.
say, with you saying you're on board with that, was that like
No,
part of the
that was
fun
not
or?
a pun, and I should have said pun.
Yeah, yeah, she was there, indeed. That's funny. I mean,
Usually,
there's
I
so
would have
many.
gone straight for that.
Yeah, there's so many ice hockey romances. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know how you tell them all apart now. So I
No.
thought I'm just going to do something a little bit different. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
See, I am an ice hockey girly.
Mhm.
I do love. I see. I go and watch the games
Do
for like
you?
my local team and stuff like that. I do love an ice hockey romance. However, I feel like we need something a little bit
Yeah.
different.
It's
Yeah.
Because like, so my partner's always been a
action.
climber.
Yeah.
So like, if I could find something, if I could find like a where the guy's a climber or the girl's a climber, and
Mm.
somehow they fall into each other, that'd be brilliant.
Climbing's on my list. It's on my sports list of books I want to do. So
Yes.
there you go. Yeah, I've got a list of things that I'm adding to and thinking. And of course, with climbing, you've got the danger and
Yeah.
all that, and they've got to have the muscles. So
Yeah.
And when they come off, they've got like the really good pump, and all the veins
yeah,
are showing. It's great.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
We've
let's do
practically
that.
just written it there and then.
Yeah, yeah, let's
You
go.
know, they
Yeah.
get trapped on a mountain. It's like one bed, but it's one mountain instead. And they go, oh, we've got to tie each other together and take our clothes off because it's freezing.
Watch your body heat.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And I want to try and subvert the tropes. So maybe it's like her teaching him how to climb and he's the newbie, or, all those kinds of things.
Yes.
So we kind
Yes.
of mix it up as much as we can, I reckon. So, yeah.
Oh, we're
Oh
on a roll
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
When she
Oh,
starts going, she doesn't
that's
stop.
it. Once the ideas go, I'm like, can't stop.
Brilliant.
Right, it is your
So
turn.
yeah, it is.
It is.
Do you have a favorite character that you have written so far?
That's hard. I mean, and people say that, like, when they ask you to choose a character or a book or even a scene,
Yeah.
because it is like choosing between your children. And I
Mhm.
think that there's an element, I think, because I write about mental health as well, there's always going to be a little bit of me in all my characters
Mhm.
because that's my experience and that's how I
Yeah.
think I can do that. So I do feel a little bit protective, especially the girls.
Mhm.
I just feel a little bit like, let's all just, hold hands and
Oh,
cuddle and stuff like
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, I do love them all, but I think the books, I mean, Cordelia in the Mermaid Chronicles is always going to have a soft spot because
Mhm.
probably because I spent the longest with her.
Yeah.
She's got 7 books, so you think that's a long time to spend with a
It's
character.
a yeah.
Yeah, that you
Oh.
just do. Whereas I would say Silver and the Unadjusted is probably the most like me, but she's probably a lot braver than me, actually. I wouldn't. I wouldn't go off leading a rebellion, so
Not in my
yeah,
spare time, no.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Oh.
yeah, it's hard,
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
you
literally
you
like
said
asking readers, oh, if you could just pick one book that you could read forever and ever. I'd be like, I can't do that, sorry.
Yeah.
I can't. Can I pick a series?
No.
I know. I mean, it has to be a series at least, and then you think,
Yeah.
well, what's the most amount of books in it, that I could
Yeah.
read again and again. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd want like a 10-book series that are like this thick, 800 pages each, and then I can read it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
oh, so From Blood and Ash might be a good one for that because
Yeah.
there's loads, and they're chunky books,
Yeah.
and there's all the spin-off books as well that you
Oh.
could, yeah. But then, I don't know if I could reread that again and again. It needs to be one
No.
of those comfort books as well. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
I just couldn't
So,
choose, and that's that.
yeah.
You've mentioned that you sort of add mental health elements and sort of like into your books as well
Yeah.
as. Is that what sort of like I don't know what's the best way to sort of put this? What's sort of it's a hard thing for authors to add that representation into books. How have you
Hmm.
found adding it into your own?
I think that it almost wasn't a conscious decision.
Yeah.
And I think because, the advice is always to write about what you know. And that's
Hmm.
not in the sense that you've got to have had to be a to be a surfer, to write about surfing, but it's about your interiority. It's about
Yeah.
emotions that have you experienced fear, have you experienced love, have you experienced, and I think that for me, the complexity of characters, everybody has issues at one point or another.
Mm-hmm.
And when this stuff first happened to me, this was like in the internet was an embryo, and I didn't even know what a panic attack was, and I was like, how can I not find a book that looks like me?
Yeah.
So despite it kind of not being a choice that I made, it was just who my characters were going to be. It's how they came out. They had these issues, and they especially when you think about characters that grow up in the fantasy and dystopian worlds. I mean, of course they've got issues. They've got usually they've lost a parent or they've gone through a traumatic. Of course they're going to have some sort of issue. So it just felt really natural for me to have that, and I really wanted to show, because most of my books are appropriate for teenagers, that you can have a panic attack and still save the world. It doesn't make you any weaker, and it's about looking at it in a different way. And I just I hated the idea of kids and adults feeling weak because they've got a mental health issue, and actually they're doing all the normal things, and also dealing with those issues, which makes them try to be strong. So the more I realised that these aspects were leaking into my characters, the more I kind of leaned into it, and I thought, now when I look at a new book, I kind of think, okay, well, you've been through this, and you are, whether you're male or you're female, and you've got this, this, and this. What would make sense? What kind of issue would make sense for you to have? And I'm hoping to shine a light on perhaps some things that aren't quite so common. As well as I go through. One of the books that I'm planning on writing is a new adult horror. I'm going to give the main character fibromyalgia, which is something that I was diagnosed with, and I don't hear that spoken about very much.
No.
Very much interlinked with anxiety, and obviously it's related to ME and chronic fatigue and all these things. So that was, and that's really difficult to go running through away from bad guys when you're absolutely exhausted and feel like you can't move. So things like that, which will add natural obstacles as well as that depth of character,
It's nice to have that recognition in it, when you open a book and you see that it's, there is mental health rep in it, and you do find out what it is, and you can sort of recognize it in yourself, and it's almost to be, to be seen and to be heard, and these characters are doing badass things, and you just think, well, if they can do it, I can do it. And it's nice to have that recognition within, whether they're fictional or not,
And I think it is, I mean, at the very least, just feeling that you're not alone, and that other people experience that. And I think one of the reasons that I like to tackle it in that fantasy setting is that there's a bit of distance there. If you read about a mental health issue in a contemporary setting, then it's right in your face, and you're like, you can't really get away from that. But when it's, in a fantasy setting, I think you can just take a step back and appreciate that without feeling the stress of it yourself. So that's always been kind of my aim. Hopefully that works.
I really like that. No,
I
wanted to sort of ask that with you saying it, and like we've read quite a lot of books with mental health rep in it as well as, and we've read quite a few. Most of the ones that we've read have been in sort of the contemporary setting where it is very much these characters are not mentally well. And it's always we need to fix them. Whereas I feel like in a fantasy setting, it's like no, I don't need to be fixed, because I can then look at it from sort of how they're dealing with it, and the fact that they are dealing with their own mental health issues whilst also doing all of these amazing things. And you can sort of go, no, I can do that too.
And I think that's the beauty of that fantasy setting, because as you say, with contemporary, there's always this emphasis on therapy and improving and reaching goals. And you kind of think, sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's about acceptance, because, somebody who's diabetic, you can't change that. You have to just do the treatment. And it's the same with anxiety. There are things you can do to make things better for yourself, but some things you just need to accept. And one of the other parts, I've written a novel. It's a middle grade novel, actually. It's not published, but it's a real heart book because it's about 3 kids who are neurodivergent. So one's dyslexic, one's got ADHD, and one's autistic, which is my 3 children.
Yeah.
And how they go on a road trip to find a family member, they're orphans, that they think they have. And it's all about how their diagnoses both help and hinder their journey and the scrapes that
Yeah.
they get into. So it shows the beauty and the resilience and the strength that being different can actually bring. So, yeah,
Oh,
always.
No, I
Hopefully
really
one
like that.
day.
I do.
No, I really, really like that because, like, so I've got dyslexia, dyspraxia, and dyscalculia, so I'm a triple threat. Um, and when you are a reader, but you do have dyslexia, it's one of those. It's like, yeah, but you're not meant to read, and you're meant to struggle with it. It's like, no, that's not what it is.
Yeah.
No.
And finding characters that actually have the same sort of neurospicy
Yeah.
type
Yeah.
dealios that you do, it really helps you because you can sort of go, this is actually like an actual representation
Yeah.
of me.
Yeah.
I I am a reader, but I am also dyslexic, and I
Hmm.
find it. I love finding books with mental health reps and like different sort of like
Yeah.
neurotypical type of I can't put it into words, but
Yeah.
We know
you,
it with
you
a
know what I mean.
Know what
yeah.
I mean? And I just think this is the beauty of indie publishing because people are writing about their own experiences and they're not afraid to include what needs to be included. Whereas traditional publishing is so much more conservative
Yeah.
when it comes to these things. I mean, trying to cross like a nun who has an affair and is also dyslexic and so you just wouldn't see that. And I
Yeah.
think freedom of being an indie and the way that the indie industry has blown up and is
Hmm.
giving all that representation right back into readers' hands is
Yeah.
just one of the best things, really, so that we can
And
all
it's such
find.
a learning thing for readers because my youngest is autistic, and that's something that I have never ever dealt with. So there's like 6 years between both of mine, and he is another whirlwind in itself. So so that for me is a whole learning journey, and then obviously seeing other mental health issues and not problems but issues that arise in life,
Yeah,
you get the chance to learn yourself, how other people deal with things, how people, just daily life and the problems that they face, and read it in a book and you go, oh my god, that's how such and
that's how I
such body's
feel.
dealt with this, and I've just learned about this, and it's a constant cycle of just picking new things up all the time.
Absolutely. And living with the
Yeah.
experience well teaches you so much and about yourself.
Yeah.
And I thought that with it's my middle son that's autistic and he's
Yeah.
15 now. And I was kind of thinking, where does this come from? Because
Yeah.
I know my husband's got ADHD, and I think my dad was dyslexic, and I was thinking, what's with the autism? So it sent me off on a journey, and it's
Yeah.
definitely my dad's side of the family, and I think there's a little bit of me in it. When I look back at certain behaviours that I always just chalked off to anxiety, I
Yeah.
actually think there's an overlap there. And I didn't have the challenges that my son did while he was growing up, but I can see some of that overlap. So
Yeah.
you're always discovering more about
Yeah.
yourself through those experiences and then through the books and those books also help you learn how to
Yeah.
interact with people in your life, so it's beautiful. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
yeah. You've got the last question, George.
I have run the last one already.
Oh,
Um, so this is nothing about books at all. Well, it
okay.
could be, but you know. Do you have any hobbies outside of writing?
I do. I reckon you could guess what one of them might be.
If it's something in the water,
There we go. It was
we're
very
gonna go
quick.
for a swim.
Yeah, I do. I swim. I swim at least 3 times a week, and I love it. And
Wow.
I love being in water. It's my happy place.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm swimming, I can just, no matter what stress I've got going on in my life, it all just kind of floats away, and I can
Yeah.
think about it in a more measured, calm way, and
Hmm.
just And obviously, exercise is good for mental health anyway,
Yeah.
so it's really important for me to do that. So I love to swim and I love to be near the ocean. I mean, yeah, I do. I love to boogie board. Reading and books, Pilates, friends,
Yeah.
and I mean, as much as the marketing side of being an indie is tough and
Yeah.
takes some time from the writing, I actually enjoy the creativity of it, of like
Yeah.
making things on Canva and stuff like that, because it's
Yeah.
like using your brain in a different way, and
Yeah.
it's a little break from the writing bit, and I'm going to visualize it like that. So I quite enjoy doing that and making my little trailers for TikTok and things like that. So yeah, I'm always at my best.
We're like that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well,
You
I
know.
mean, I do social media for work. I fell into it. And now I'm like, you know what? Let's make a bookstagram and a book talk. And you know what? Let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Do everything.
I
Yeah.
now just do my
Yeah.
job for funsies when I'm not at work. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's how I feel about what I mean. I don't have. This is my real job, my full job. But and I'm fortunate enough that I have a husband that I can just do that and make it,
Yeah.
make it work. But I couldn't do anything else. And
Yeah.
oh, and as for the swimming, I do have a mermaid tail as well because I thought I cannot write about mermaids and not be a mermaid. So yeah, great fun.
Oh,
I bet that's so much fun. I've seen like videos of them and I'm like,
yeah.
you must have immense core strength.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't have good core strength, but I love doing it. So I
Yeah.
haven't joined like a mermaid society. I'm thinking maybe. I mean, my husband will laugh at me, but I'm thinking maybe I should go and find my other people.
Yeah.
So,
Do it. Life's
yeah,
too short.
absolutely.
You've just gotta go for it, haven't you?
I was
Absolutely.
really expecting you to say you've got to dive right in
I
then.
know. I was gonna say it, but then I thought I'm not doing another sea pond, and that's that.
Oh, you've got to. It's all good fun. Yeah.
Uh, but that's
Giggles.
all the questions that we've got really. It
Mm,
has been absolutely
Ah,
lovely talking to you,
yeah.
and we cannot wait to meet you in person in
yeah.
October. We'll be
It's gonna be
there,
so much
running
fun.
around, lights,
Yeah.
cameras, mics, getting
Awesome.
live interviews, and just having a good old chat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
experiencing the convention. And we cannot wait to see
I
you
can't
there.
wait. I can't wait as well. And it's so nice to have like a couple of faces now that I think, right, I know
Yeah.
them. I know them. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good. I'll just be like clinging on to you like I don't know anyone else.
Just walk round with us because none of us know what we're doing.
We'll have we'll be able to spot us from probably a mile off. We'll have
Yeah.
hoodies with our names on the backs, so you'll
Awesome.
know who we are
Yeah.
and where to find us.
Yeah.
But if you're listening and you want to get tickets, I'm hoping there are still some on sale by the time that we post this. Please grab a ticket. Come and meet these absolutely amazing
Yeah.
authors. And thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had the best time.
Yeah.
It's been so good.